Hello again and welcome back. You'll never guess where I am. My second home. Today on this video I'm going to continue the radiator install, move the bus, maybe bus airs, and wire up that fan to the dash. So I've got to get the bus out so I can get underneath it whilst it's on concrete. At the moment it's on dirt, it's quite damp, it's been raining if you can see the sky. So that I will do today, and then depending on how I go for time, I might go for a drive. Not quite sure yet, we'll see. On this episode of Steve Stuff. I just moved the Merlin. It's the first time it's moved since November, I think. Only a straight line out though, because it's dropped all its power steering fluid over the last 6 months or so. I really don't want to stress the pump. So straight out and then straight back. I just need to try and get better access under there. We've decided that the switch I bought is not big enough to handle the current with that fan, so for the time being I'm going to hardwire a switch straight up to the dash. I've got a working temperature gauge, so next time I take the bus for a spin, which may be tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm feeling confident, keep an eye on the gauge itself, and then when it gets to 70, turn it on. Oh, the joys of getting into the dash again. I'm hunting for a power source, which is going to be this switch here. That's the one it's a master switch basically for the cab. Turn that on, you get your gauges, you get your speedo, you get your cabin lights. So I'm going to ground the ground, run the power from there to that switch up there, and then from that switch back to the fan and see if it works. I've run out of cable ties, so I can't finish this job right now, but I'm right in the thick of it.
Into the thick of it.
Right, so we can see the radiator's in. What's going on there? That's one of the rubber mounting grommets. Okay, there's another one there. I had the bigger one under there, under the bracket, and the smaller one at the top, which is, I think, how it's meant to go. But doing that, the radiator sat up too high this end and looked silly. It was crooked, so I swapped them around, and maybe this one's a bit softer. It's chewed itself to bits. What I was going to say is I'm just going to go around and make sure everything's torqued up. I can see that one there is not tight. Things like that I can, spot. I've got this end of the cable tied off here, ready to run. As soon as I get this out onto the concrete, I'll run that cable all the way up to the dash, up through the floor, the steering column, and get this fan running. So I better go around and check everything. Well, damn, that is not repairable, not usable, and I need something up there as just a barrier to keep it from being metal on metal. I don't even know if I can buy something like that. It's almost like a bushing out of a front suspension or something. I guess I'll just have to hunt around, see what I can find before this bus gets driven very far. Oh, and by the way, I know some of you are going to say, that's speaker wire. It's the thickest and the longest I could get in the length I need. I needed 30 meters just to be safe, and everything was selling 10. So it's temporary. I know it's speaker wire. It will do the job for now. Okay, here's what I've come up with what I have laying around. Luckily I never throw anything out. So that's a little piece of leftover radiator hose, and that's a couple of squares I've cut out of some rubber. I think I was using the rubber in the back of the station wagon or one of the utes. There's heaps of it left, so I kept it. So in the meantime, I think that should provide me the same sort of, I guess it's cushioning or support as well as give. It'll have some give in it, I think, until such time as I can try and find something that's actually like made for the job. Let's see how this goes. You can see that's done what we all thought it would do, and it's just kind of pulled down through the middle of that hose fragment there, but it's created a nice little ballooning kind of cushiony effect there, and that should do the job. I mean, that might even be better under there, but to do that I've got to loosen over here on that other mount, which I'm going to check now to make sure that the rubbers are okay on it. So we'll just use this voltage gauge to show you what's going on. So here is my master switch in the cab. If I don't turn that on, nothing in here works. The door, the transmission, even the cutout switch, the off switch. So that goes on, supplies power to the cab. I've picked up power from the on side of this switch, run it up here to this switch, right, which will then turn on and power on the fan. So if I turn this master switch on now, you watch the gauge, there we go. Now I'll turn this one on, which should turn the fan on, and you'll watch the voltage drop. There we go. We've got the fan on. And off, master off. Okay, I'll go and disconnect the battery again, tidy up this rat's nest. While I was in here, actually, I found these three coming out of the starter button. The starter button doesn't work on this bus. We suspect someone's cut it at some point to stop it being moved. So there's 3 random wires there, and over here there are 3 random wires also cut, called numbers 1, 2 and 3. A lot of the wires seem to have numbers on them. I guess that's so you can follow them on the wiring diagram. I do have a wiring diagram for this at home somewhere. I'll see if that makes any sense. Maybe those 3 connect to those 3, which would give me a starter circuit. Dunno. One last finishing touch. This is called a dymo. I'm sure you've heard of a dymo. Now I want to go space. That's a space. One of these is a space and one's a cut. Guess we'll soon find out. Here we go. Hopefully that'll stay there because it's on a bit of a curve. So temperature gauge works. It's there within very easy reach of the driver. You can see that while you're driving. It's part of your gauge scan, and there's your switch. So once she gets up to about 70, that's when the fan goes on. First time it's moved since that fateful day. Righto, so I just took it around the yard, down the front a couple of times. It's moving okay, bit of a flat spot in the front tyres again, but everything's working. The temperature didn't get over about 70, so I didn't even put the fan on. I did turn it on to see how much of a voltage drop. There's a little bit, but you can't even hear it from inside or from standing next to the bus when the engine's running. You can't really hear the fan. I thought it was going to be super loud. So all I have to do now is get down and just cable tie up some of these cables here, tidy all this all my rubbish up. I was going to leave this out and get the decker out, but it started to sprinkle and I don't want to get caught in the rain trying to pack up, getting wet. So we'll leave it there for now. Right, so what I'll do is slowly, I didn't get everything done I wanted to do today. It's Sunday afternoon, the skies are black. It's kind of sprinkling, then it stops, and it's spring. I just don't want to be packing up in the mud. This is done, the radiator's in, the fan's in, it's working, the switch works, everything's okay, it moves. First time under its own steam for 6 months or so. It's hard to believe that time has passed so fast, but it has. This was parked the 22nd, I think, of November last year, when it was towed in on that low loader, and I drove it up here and backed it in, and then the very next day I took the radiator out. I was going to try and get 1101 out, but like I said, it's Sunday afternoon. just going to go home, chill out. I'll do that next weekend. So with this, what I need to do is just start to slowly move it. Get it used to moving again around the yard, slowly around the block, and just get, you know, longer and longer trips. Keep an eye on the temperature. Just get this thing used to moving again, making sure all the air's good, the brakes are good, everything seems fine. My next job is to try and get some tires for it, but again, I can't do that until I get my F150 back. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's so frustrating, but I just want it fixed, so I have to be patient. But I've got those two wheels there that I painted. I need to take them up to a tyre place, get them to put some tubeless on it, some new ones, bring those back here, change the steers out of this. They're rags, tube tyres, ply, what do they call them, cross ply. I'm going to put these ones, because they're brand new, onto the rear of the Decker, and that'll give me 4 new tyres out of 6, and that will keep me happy. But as I said, to do that, I need to put those 2 wheels and tyres into the back of my truck, take them up there, blah blah blah, and here we are, we're still waiting. So next weekend I'll do that, move this around, depending on the weather, might give them both a wash, take the Decker for a drive as well. So I will see you next weekend. Well, hello, it's midweek, it's after work, it's raining cats and dogs, it's cold and miserable, winter has certainly hit us. I'm in the basement car park at home. I live in an apartment building, if you haven't already noticed. Anyway, there's breaking news. There's been a development. Guess who's back? Albert's back. Turns out it wasn't transfer case, like we thought. It was steering rack problems. Anyway, he's back. I can finally start using him for what he's designed for, and that is this week I'll get some bus wheels taken to a tyre place and some new tyres put on for the Merlin. In the meantime though, after work through the week, I want to do a few things to this thing. I've got some tech upgrades I want to do. I've got a couple of mods I want to try. So I know the F150 videos don't work or perform as well as the bus stuff. You guys love the bus stuff, but indulge me as we wait for next weekend when I can get out and do some bus work. I'll do a few little odd jobs on Fat Albert. Righto, so one of the jobs I want to do on this truck is replace this 8-inch screen with a 14.5-inch screen that I've bought. Now, there's a ton of videos on YouTube about how to do it, so I won't film, you know, the lot of it. I'll show you what I'm doing though. It's a fairly straightforward job apparently. I've got my lights, I've got all my tools, I've got everything I need. I need to drive this car in the morning around to the tyre place, so I've got to try and have this replaced out by then. I don't really want to be trying to drive it with a gaping hole in the dash, so let's get to doing it. Apparently I've got to lift this off, then there's some screws that comes out, there's some screws in the top, and then it all just kind of unclips. So let's see. Just got to be careful. Don't want to lose the clips or damage anything. There we go. So we managed to get this out. So I'll put that over there. And now we have to take this out. Welcome to my boudoir. No, it's my lounge room. I'm sorry, I've just sneezed 20 times. Here are what I'm working with. This is the old, this is the new. Check out the size of that screen. That's my laptop so that I can check YouTube videos. And this is the original screen out of the car, and it has this here. This is the Sync 3 module. This is basically the operating system for the car. So I need to remove it from this and put it on the back of this. So first of all, I'll unscrew it. So now I've got this cover off the back of this. This is the original. I need to now remove these boards and put them on here. And also underneath this board, there's the climate controls knobs and buttons, and they all fit in here. It's pretty much plug and play. It really is. It's just time consuming because there's so many of these little Torx 10 screws and things. And here I need a Phillips head, and I didn't bring up one up with me, so I've got to run back downstairs to the car park and grab a Phillips head in a minute. As you can see, I'm following along to the video. Okay, back in the car, all done. Just got to get it back in there. Wish me luck. Just done a test fit, plugged it all in. It's working, kind of. So now I'll tidy it all up and just kind of clip it in so I can drive the car in the morning up to get a wheel alignment. It's in. Let's go through the start and see what happens. Lights are working at the bottom. Screen's on. How about that? The volume knob here, or it works off the steering wheel. So the buttons up here work. That one's not connected to anything. That's my hazards, and that's some non-slip thing. All right, I'm happy with that. I've got to run this down to Bridgestone tomorrow because the steering wheel is slightly still not quite right. I'm just going to get them to do a wheel alignment since we've had a new steering rack put in, and that will do for now. I'm happy with that. There's all sorts of things I need to go into and find out how they work, how to get my phone connected, stuff like that. So there's more videos I need to watch, but look, it's all working. Climate control and everything's connected. So yeah, good stuff. Easier to work down here than it is at home in the basement. It's Saturday afternoon, I've finished work. I just want to show you the screen. Basically looks like that, and it's working. The only thing I don't like about it, everything works really well with Sync 3, but when I flip over to my phone, I Bluetooth my phone to it and use my CarPlay, because the CarPlay that's in this needs a SIM card, and I don't want to go down that road. I'd rather just use the hotspot off my phone. So when I go into reverse, if I'm in CarPlay mode off my phone, the camera doesn't keep CarPlay out. So I've got to go back to sync if I'm reversing, which is a bit of a pain. I'll see if I can find a workaround. Another upgrade I wanted to do, which I'm doing now, is a dash cam, front and rear, but it also is a mirror. I've had this since I bought the car. I bought it off Amazon. Been waiting to get the car back. I'm not going to video it because there's videos on YouTube, but I've run the cables. I've hidden all a bit there. I've got to finish it all off. Down here into the fuse box, I've found my ground, my accessories, and my constant power, and hidden the camera cable all up under there. It's quite easy actually to get in and hide all this stuff all the way up the side here, up the back, under there. There's a bit exposed. Get rid of that. Didn't see that. To the camera, which is right there on the back window, inside out of the weather. Let's have a look and see what it looks like. Accessories, everything fires up, screen fires up, mirror fires up. There we go. And we should be able to see. Look at that. There we go. Let me turn this down so I don't get pinged. Because it's on the back window, my rear view now is not of the back seat and the back window, it's actually of the rear corners of the car. I can adjust that picture. I can see more of the back deck lid, or I can bring it down and just see the corners of the back of my ute. I wonder if I can go that way. No, I can't. Okay, up or down. That's a great picture, isn't it? I'm happy with that. Another job done. If you wanted to get one of these for yourself, I can highly recommend. That is the brand. This was the latest model. I think a slightly bigger one would fit over my mirror better. And by the way, it just sits there with some straps. It's just, you don't have to remove your old mirror or anything. It's totally designed to strap on. There's probably a later model by now. I don't know. Amazon's where I got it. It was a couple of $100, and then you've got to pay, I think, another 50 or 60 for the hardwire kit. You get the hardwire kit, basically just plugs into your fuses. You get that if you don't want to use a cigarette lighter plug. And also if you want to be absolutely certain that when you turn the ignition off, that stops running and doesn't drain your battery. So there you go, Wolf box. A friend of mine's already bought one for her car. Now that I've done mine, I'll have a better idea of how to wire hers up. Another job I want to do is a new steering wheel cover. For that, I might have a crack at that, maybe now, maybe later. Next day, everything's working nicely. I took the truck in for a drive this morning and caught up with a friend for coffee. Only thing is, there's some sort of glitch when I was in the M4 tunnel. For some reason, the mirror asked for Wi-Fi and then went black, which is a problem when you're relying on screens. It happened to me in a Hyundai once. So I hit a bump and everything went black. Anyway, I fixed it and it hasn't happened since. Don't know what that was all about. This is another mod I want to do. I've bought this on Amazon. As I said, you can get everything you want for these things. This is a Raptor style steering wheel with the red at 12 o'clock there. I just think it goes well with the red seats that I already have. There's videos on YouTube, so again, I'm not going to show you how to do this. I've done this on 2 cars and one of my buses. They are a lot easier because they don't have these areas here that I have to navigate around and then tuck leather up. Because this already has quite a thickly wrapped leather steering wheel, I'm not sure if this is going to fit. This is made for the plastic kind of wheel, but I'll get it started and see how we go, and I'll give you some progress updates. Okay, so that's sitting on there. Everything seems to be lining up. The gaps seem to be lining up where they're supposed to be. I've got to make sure I get this dead 12 o'clock. If I got that slightly off, nothing would mess with my OCD more, but that looks pretty good right there. So now what I have to do, they recommend that we start here and just start sewing, get up to there, and then start tucking this stuff in, and then do this side, and then take the long one last. One guy on YouTube, he's never sewn before. It took him 6 hours. I don't have 6 hours, but I have sewn before. I've done, like I said, I've done 3 of these already on different vehicles. So stop talking and just get to getting, see how it looks. I'm not sure if I'm a fan or not. It's not really fitting right, but I've got this much done. It's a bit messy around here. I'll try and tuck it into there. It's designed to tuck in under there, and then the back bits, there's double-sided tape just to hold them on the back of the steering wheel. This really is a job to do with the wheel off the car, I'm realising. So I don't know whether to unpick this and stick with what I've got, or have a go at this side and see how I feel. I mean, if I hate it, I can just unpick it. Just did a pass up this side. The stitching's a bit shit. This side's all right. It's kind of like a hexagon pattern, but I don't know what, I did something wrong there halfway up. These are going to be interesting, trying to tidy all this up around here now on both sides. But I'm halfway there. Might as well keep going and see how it looks. As long as that 12 o'clock stays right in the centre there. Just going to have a break and have a beer. Got the car running so I can perfectly centre the steering wheel. Yeah, I think it's good. And look, I'm not entirely unhappy. There's a few areas I'm not happy with. There's a bit here that won't tuck in properly. There's a bit of thread here that looks ugly, but for the most part, if I just go around and tidy up little areas like that, it's not too bad. And honestly, I don't know how that guy took 6 hours to do it, because what is it now? It's taken me about an hour. Anyway, yeah, so it's tidy up a few little things and that'll do. It feels great. Smells good too. It's like leather. Everything at the back's kind of tucked in nicely. So there you go. Another little mod to the F-Truck. Back home, there's so many mods you can make inside Forscan, which is the operating system of this, and all Fords actually. The Ranger had the same thing. I bought an adapter, and I took my laptop down to the yard and I changed the open screen, the home screen, to Raptor performance. And also I wanted to make the mirrors close when I press lock. So, yay, so good. Yes, 2 weeks to go. Probably 1 week by the time you see this video. So as you can see, I've got a lot of rubber stains off there, pretty much all around the bus. So I'm just going to spray it with some CLR Clear, which is right there. It just loosens it up. I'm just in the process of putting a new O-ring in my pressure washer, and then I'll give this thing a bath. It's got to go in next week to the museum, which is the week before Deckers in the Night. Yes, cutting it fine, but we think we should be okay. It's got to go on the ramp, it's got to get poked and prodded and looked at, brake checked, all that sort of stuff, a fitness test for carrying passengers for the museum. So while we've got some sunshine this weekend, I'll give it a bath. I had to move the Merlin out of the way, started up fine, although, I don't know, it sounds like the starter could be on its way out, which is all I need, really. So this is the worst, kind of dirtiest part of the bus. Faces the sun all day, under that tree, and it's got the stain dripping down from the rubber in the top deck window. I have to get up in the ladder, get some CLR clear up there, give it a bit of a scrub. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not really coming off the top there. Anyway, I'll get to getting and get this thing clean. Okay, so that's the back. Looking pretty good. I just started thinking too, I don't have to go too crazy because this event is a night event. So we're out in the dark. People aren't going to notice a little bit of grubbery on there. So what I'll do now is I'll just go around these areas here with the brush and detergent, and for the stubborn bits, I'll chuck some of that spray on and then hit it with the wash. So we've got a bit to do. I'll come back to you. Bit of a comparison as to what's been cleaned and what hasn't. So on the sides, on the back, the staining is mostly from the rubbers around the windows, but on the sides, this is just grime off the motorway that you can hear behind me. The buses have been sitting, they haven't moved since Busfest in November, and this is what's happened. One day when I retire, I'm going to build them both a nice big shed so they can retire with me in comfort. Someone told me that their Ryobi does that too. It must be just the Ryobi noise. Come on. There you go. Okay, so we're halfway done. That's looking much better, I'm sure you'll agree with me. I'm not going to be bothered with the roof. I might be bothered with it. I probably won't be bothered with it because no one's going to see the roof. Except people in high-rise buildings, I guess, so maybe I will get up there and just check it. But that side and the back look good. Now, look at the horror show on the front. Here we get to another area where there's rubber around that window and also around the desto window, or what you UK guys call the blind. Those rubbers need to be replaced at some point. I don't have the time or money right now, so I've got to live with this rubber staining. So that's going to need some tough love. And then we get to this side and it's just road grime. And this is the side that kind of faces very closely to another bus. So it avoids a lot of the dirt. Might be time to sit down and have a sip of a cold snack, as my favourite YouTuber calls it. Rest the elbow and the shoulder, and then keep going on that front. I've just been up there and done some hardcore scrubbing and some CLR soaking in it, and I'll hit that now with water and then go back with the soapy brush. Should tidy it up, and then hit the bottom. Need to get up on the ladder again and get a little bit more personal with a soft brush. Also, in places like that, I need to go in with the hand washer. And if you're thinking the same thing I am, and that is that this water's just going to keep dripping that black stain down after I go home this afternoon, and also if it rains through the week, you are right. But it will be easy just to wipe off on the Sunday before we head in the afternoon for the actual event. So we've got a few hours before we go in that we can mess around and make sure she's sparkling. So I've just got to go and replenish my suds bucket. I'll get up the top there, tidy all that up, down around those headlights, and then get going on the side. there were some stubborn spots, had to go back. And now I'm just going to do the rear half of this side, and then that's the bus washed. Well, she's looking a lot better than she did a couple of hours ago. I'm happy with that. I still might get up on the roof, not on the roof, but on the ladder and check the roof, make sure it's not too dirty. There's little areas like around the doors there, I'll tidy up through the week. See they're down the bottom there, it's a bit manky, but looking good again. I've got to put that school bus sign back on. I took that off because it was fading. I'll clean up that desto glass, get the desto rolls turned around again. So there we are, a lot more pretty than when I got here this morning. I just want to say thank you to everybody that reached out to me, who saw my hometown on the news. We've had record-breaking, absolutely devastating floods up there. I'm not there, I'm in Sydney, I couldn't get home. All of my family are fine, none of our properties were damaged in any way. Some families were isolated in, flooded in, couldn't get out, no power, but we got off lightly. A lot of people have lost absolutely everything. The water got higher than it ever has in written history, so there were places flooded that never even thought that they were in flood zones, but this was crazy. I make no secret of my hometown. Every time I get one of these buses out, I advertise it. I'm very proud of where I'm from, and right now we're all thinking of everybody in Taree right now as they start the cleanup. So thank you if you reached out, I really do appreciate it. So nice to see them out again, especially the Merlin. I'm just juggling them back into their parking space so that I can go home. I'm not allowed to start them up on weekdays where possible because they are a bit smoky, and the residents, people working in those buildings there, get upset. So needs a bath, but just happy to have it running. And I just went around the block. Everything seems okay. It's going to get a good drive tomorrow into the museum, not tomorrow, next weekend, into the museum and back. So hopefully any issues we have will raise their head while we're at the workshop. Just before I pack up and go, can you see that window there? Seems to have paint on it. I'm going to run up there with a scraper now and see if I can clean that up a bit. So this is what I'm talking about. Look at this mould. Is that on the inside? Yes it is, all right. I think someone told me, because the family were living in this, and I think they painted windows out where there was a bed for a bit of privacy and keep the sun out, I guess. Much better. And that's going to do me for now. Well, that's where we'll leave this one. I'm glad I was able to get you some content. It's been quiet of late. Hopefully there was something in this video that was interesting to you, whether it was setting the fan and radiator up in the Merlin, or the wash today, or even some of the things I did to the F150, which is just behind the camera there. Thank you very much for watching. We're moving into a busy time. You can probably see what I'm sitting on. These are the two wheels I painted a couple of videos back. They're booked in on Tuesday to get some tyres put on them. I'm then going to remove the split rim tyres that are on the front, the rags, the tubed tyres. They're going on the back of this, and these tubeless are going on the front, which are the correct wheels for a Swift/Merlin. And with those ones that are on the front there going on the back, that gives me 4 new tyres on this bus out of 6, which makes me a lot happier, a lot more confident and comfortable carrying passengers instead of just having 2 new tyres. I'll get around to replacing the other ones one of these days. I want to say thank you once again to everybody that reached out, asked me how my family were, knowing that Taree's my hometown. Shocking floods. 1 in 500 years, they're saying. Water levels and a rain event just unprecedented. So luckily our family wasn't affected, but many people have lost everything. And they're up there right now. They've picked themselves back up and they're rebuilding and they're fixing up. Even the Eggers depot that I showed you through a couple of videos ago, from what I can tell, had 2 feet of water through the front office and possibly in the sheds. I don't even want to think about the mechanic pit. So yeah, it was tough for Taree, but we're a tough town, tough people, and it doesn't make us special because it happens all over the place all the time. But I just wanted to say thanks. You guys know that that's my town, and I really appreciate the people who messaged me and asked how we were. So thank you. Next video will be Deckers in the Night. Looking forward to that. I'll take you along with me. Until then, take care. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll see you soon on Steve Stuff. Brand new tyres, fresh kicks. I'll go on to the Merlin on the weekend.